All right, friends. Now successfully, we have all the orders on the basis of logged in user ID. Now this time, inside this video, I will discuss the concept that if we want to get single order detail on the basis of its ID, it means order ID, how to fetch that data, that details by using WooCommerce API endpoint. Let's go back to editor. So before discussing further to get single order detail, if I go and open our API.js from SRC folder, so we can see that inside this API file, here we have three configurations, that is project URL, and here the project URL is nothing. This is a WordPress setup, what we had done the installation into our local system. And into this WordPress setup, remember we had installed WooCommerce, and from WooCommerce plugin REST API settings, we have generated this consumer key and consumer secret. Now before going further from this video topic, I'll use a remote WordPress URL. If I go back to browser, so here this is a URL what basically I have created for this course, that is teach.digitalwebtutor.xyz. Now we can see that this is a WordPress setup. So what I will do, simply I will copy this project URL or the base URL of this WordPress setup. Let's go back to editor and simply I'll replace with that. And then after, let's go here, click on WooCommerce, go inside settings. Let's generate consumer key and consumer secret. So then after, inside WooCommerce, let's click on advanced, click on REST API. And here, let's click on add key and let's call it as headless store. This is our admin URL, like admin email, and here permission is off, read and write. Click on generate API key, and successfully here we have the consumer key and consumer secret. So let's copy. I have simply copied. Then I'll go here, replace with this consumer key, save these changes, and let's copy this secret and replace with that. So for the time being, if I save all these changes, let's go back to browser and here click on products. Now this time, all these products are listing from this WooCommerce of this remote URL. So if I go and inspect, let's go and inspect, go into network tab, and if I reload one more time to this headless store, and now we can see that it has called an API, and this time this API is of remote URL. So successfully now this time this headless store is now connected with this remote URL. Now let's do some order and create some order inside this WooCommerce. So if I go inside WooCommerce orders, and now we can see right now we don't have any order. But here if I go, let's go first login and sign up. So login and sign up, and here let's say create a new user at gmail.com, username from 1 to 8, and not from 1 to 8, let's say Vikram, and password is from 1 to 8. And one more thing, while hitting the sign up button, if I go back to api.js, remember, while click on sign up button, simply from this API file, we are calling this method called register user API. So in this API, what basically we are doing, we are hitting an API URL, and that has an endpoint of two WPV2 users, and additionally, also we are passing the base64 encoded value of WP admin panel, that is admin and admin. So up to last video, remember we had used all about local WordPress setup, and that these are the details of that WordPress setup. But right now we are using a remote URL. So in this case, the login of user, like the username and password of admin panel, is totally different. So in this case, we'll get some error that is of unauthorized. So in this case, what we have to do, according to the remote URL, according to the WP admin of that URL, simply we have to pass the updated informations. So in this case, it will be, this is the username, and here this will be the password. So automatically when we go and hit our sign up button, this method will be called, and automatically it will use this remote URL what we have passed here, and with this API endpoint automatically it will pass the updated username and password, and it will do registration into an admin panel. Let's go back to browser. And here, after passing all these data, let's click on sign up button. And now we can see that here we have the success message, user registered successfully. Let's go back to admin panel. Then I'll go click on users, all users. And now we can see that successfully this Vikram user as a subscriber now registered into this admin panel. Now let's go click on login, and here I am simply passing Vikram, and then after let's pass our password. Click on login button. So successfully, user is now logged in, and as we can see the additional options of my account, my orders and logout. Now let's go click on products, and here then after let's add this product into add to cart, added, added, click on add to cart. So successfully we have added three products into our cart. Let's click on this cart, click on checkout. And now we can see that here we have the checkout form. Let's pass all these informations. So let's pass quickly. Sample address, sample city, sample state, something, a dummy postcode, India, email is okay. And here we have the dummy phone number. Click on place order, and successfully we can see that order has placed. If I go and let's go inside WooCommerce, click on orders. And now we can see that successfully we got our first order into WooCommerce into order section. Now next after this, let's go back to a headless store, click on my orders, and now we can see that successfully the same order is now inside this my orders. Now let's go and do one more order. Click on products. Let's add some more product here. So add to cart, added, added. Now if we go to our cart section, let's go click on checkout button. Let's pass the same piece of informations, sample address, sample city, sample state, dummy postcode, India, email is okay, dummy phone number. Let's click on place order. So successfully as you can see that order has been placed. Let's go and click on my orders. So right now we have only a single order, but whenever if I click on this button called refresh orders, and now you can see that here we have two orders. Now the main concept of this video, now we have to start, and that is whenever if I click on this view button, simply we have to pass or get the dynamic informations on the base of order ID of that single specific order. But right now we can see that here we have the static informations. Either we can click on this first order or on the second order. But this time we have to call an API. Inside that API, we have to pass only the order ID to get single order data. So let's go back to API documentation, and here woocommerce.github.io/WooCommerce REST API docs. Then after click on orders, and inside here we can see retrieve an order. So here is the API endpoint. Using get request type we can call wp-json wc v3 orders, and then after we have to pass order ID. So this time if I talk about the order ID, so here we have 116, which is the order ID of this first order. 114, this is the order ID of this specific order. So what basically we have to do, let's go back to editor. Then I will go into this api.js, and here let's create a function that will be, let's say, get single order data. And here let's say export const get single order data async in nature, and in this function we'll pass the order ID. Let's go inside it. Then we have the try block. Also, we have the catch block in case of any error. So simply at that point, console.log and error. Let's go inside try block. So const UL equals to backtick symbol. Here we have the API UL, and this API UL is going to contain this API endpoint. Now after v3, what basically we want, so after v3 we want these orders, it means /orders /order ID. So let's copy, go here, and then after right here let's paste. So instead of this ID, it will be called order ID. And then after, let's say const auth params equals to generate auth signature, and in this case let's pass URL. So we have to use get request type, so we don't need to pass any second argument, only URL here. And then after, let's say const response equals to await API.get, and here simply inside this get method backtick symbol, let's pass or copy this API endpoint. So /orders /order ID, and here inside this second argument object here headers, and inside headers, not headers actually, we have to use the params concept. So params, and it will contain, let's say auth params, and finally return response dot data. So let's copy the single order data method. I will go then inside pages. Let's go inside my orders. So first I will import this function, and here it will be. Then after, if I go and search for on click event on view button, and here it is. So right now we can see that this is, I think, a state manager. This is only toggling this state variable. So what basically I do in this, let's cut this piece of code, and here let's say get single order information, and inside this function let's pass our single order dot id. It means the id of that order. So let's go at the top of here, and after that let's create a function that is handle view button click, and here let's say const get single order information async, and inside here simply we are passing order id, and inside here let's say try block. Then after, let's say catch block. In case of any error, simply let's go and console. So console.log, and it will be error. And also let's include a finally block. Now let's go inside this try block, and here const, let's say response equals to, it will be await and the API method, and here let's go and copy this get single order data method. Let's scroll down and put here, and inside this let's pass order ID. So for the time being, let's say console.log, and here response. And one more thing, remember, we are just toggling this state variable. So also let's go close this and close this. Let's copy this set show details model, and after this console log let's make it as false. Save these changes, not actually false because by default it is false, so I think it will be true. Save these changes. Let's go back to browser, and here if I go and reload, let's inspect, go to console tab, and if I click on this order that is 116, click on view button, and now we can see that here we are getting a single object, and that is from WooCommerce API, and this object is containing all the informations on the basis of order ID 116. Let's go close, click on 114, and now we can see that again we are getting the order data of 114 ID. So what then we have to do? Let's go back to editor. Let's create a state variable that is const. Let's say single order data. Let's say set single order data. Let's say use state. And we can see that here we are getting an object, and this object is containing the order data. So inside use effect, let's pass an empty object. So initially, this state variable has an empty object value. Now then after, let's copy this state manager. I'll then go here, and before this state manager, let's pass response. So simply by getting our WooCommerce object, simply we are setting that response into this state variable. Now next after this, let's copy, go here, and in this model, here we have the static values, like this is the model what we are toggling to view our single order data. So instead of static values, let's go and pass, that is single order data. This is state variable dot id. Now next after that, here we have the date. So to get the date value, if I go, let's open any of the objects. So inside here, if we closely look, so it is containing date created. So what we can do here, let's say single order, or first let's say new date, single order data dot date created to local date string. Save these changes. Here we have the static value that is completed. So in terms, let's say here, single order data dot status. Then after here we have the static price. So first we have to get the currency. So single order data dot currency symbol. Then after also we have to get the total price. So single order data dot total. And then after here we have the items. So if I go, so items we are getting inside this line items, and remember inside our last video topic also we had used the same concept to iterate over line items inside this tabular format of orders. So what I will do to save the time, let's copy this complete UL, and if I go, let's replace this UL tag from here, and then after instead of single order this time here we have single order data. Now let's save all these changes. I think everything has been done. So if I go, let's reload. Now if I click on this 116 order, and I think, and now we can see that here we have the information that is of 116. Let's click on this view button of this 114, and here we have the 114 information. But one more thing also we can do, instead of directly opening this model, also we can show a loader icon. So what we can do, let's go here. So remember here we have a destructure functions that is set page loading. So simply I'll just copy it, go here, and here let's pass to here. It means I want to display a loader icon, and once model will be displayed automatically or inside this finally block, let's go and put this false value. Save these changes. Let's go and reload. Click on view button of this 116, and now we can see order date of 116, and here order date of 114. So successfully, our new concept of WooCommerce API endpoint now successfully have integrated inside this video topic. Now in the next video, we'll see the concept that if suppose I want to remove this order from this my orders tabular format, how to remove on click of this delete button. So for this interesting video, interesting course, please hit the like button to like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Now let's meet to our next amazing video. So for this video session, guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.